One of the biggest misconceptions in Hunter x Hunter is that Gene Freaks is a deadbeat dad that abandoned his son. And, well, he is a deadbeat, but not as big as one as you might think. So let's talk about it. All right, so what do I mean by this, right? Well, as we all know, the inciting incident of Hunter x Hunter is Gon deciding to leave Whale Island so that he can become a hunter. And the whole reason he wants to do that is so he can go find his father, a man that he's never met. Gene Freaks has been running from his fatherly responsibilities for Gon's entire life because he abandoned him, right? Well, not quite. So everything I've just mentioned is the story as it's presented in the 2011 anime, which is a fantastic adaptation except for a couple of weird decisions about how they adapted episode 1. They leave out two very important pieces of information. The first is that they omit Kite entirely. We won't see him until the Chimera Ant arc in the anime, but in the manga, he was introduced in chapter 1. But that's not what this video is about. And then the other is that they entirely omit this scene between Gon and Aunt Mito, where she confesses to him that she lied. Gene never abandoned you. It was me who made him give you up. And Gon says, yeah, I kind of knew that. And he forgives her, they hug, and he continues on his journey. So Gene did not abandon his son. And in fact, he wanted to take Gon along with him on his journey. But Mito thought it would be better for Gon if she raised him on Whale Island. And Gene obviously, reluctantly or not, agreed to that. So this man is not an abandoner, but don't get me wrong, by no means is he father of the year. He's still a deadbeat in a lot of ways. And yeah, you can argue that Gene has done in his own way some really good things for Gon, but still, no matter how you want to frame it, he hasn't shown up for his son in the way that I would classify a good father would. So yeah, Gene gets a bad rap as a dad that he mostly deserves, but doesn't entirely deserves. And who knows, maybe we'll find out more about this backstory here that will shed even more light on their exact dynamic. Like maybe he has reasons for being the way that he's been with Gon. And on that note, I got this question from Richard, and y'all can pause to read the whole thing if you'd like to, but he says, what are your thoughts on the possibility that Gene is not Gon's father, but could perhaps be his brother or just another family member and was entrusted Gon by Gon's mother on behalf of Dawn Freaks? And those that need the reminder, Dawn Freaks is the older Freaks member that is presumably on the Dark Continent right now, exploring and writing the other half of his book. So this is certainly interesting. I do feel like there's absolutely room for more intrigue or a reveal about Gon, whether that's related to who his mother is, or whether that's related to, if Gene isn't his father and it is Dawn Freaks or somebody else, right? Like, Tagashi has put the puzzle pieces in such a way that, like, that's obviously possible. But for me personally, I do think Gene is the father just because, like we were talking about earlier in this video, he did want to bring Gon with him. He didn't just straight up abandon him. Now, that doesn't mean he has to be his father, but they are very similar. They do look a lot alike. And again, if Gene was his uncle, that could still make sense. But I just personally think the reveal will come in another realm beyond just Gene not being his father. So Gene could be his father, but then we might find out who his mother was, and that could be a big bombshell, right? Or the fact that Dawn Freaks has been in the Dark Continent and would presumably have been tasked with a calamity of the Dark Continent as well. Like maybe that's related to Gon and why he's special. There are theories that Gon is from the Dark Continent, somewhat tied to whatever Dawn Freaks has been doing. I'm not saying I buy that, but I think it's on the table, right? So yeah, I don't know. I think there is definitely room for something there, but I almost would prefer if there wasn't some secret main character twist, where like Gon's mother is this like super important person that, made Gon special in all of these ways, because I do think it was kind of refreshing to like not have the super unique MC. And Gon isn't, unique and special in his own ways, but like I don't think he needs to be like a Dark Continent calamity. I don't think Hunter x Hunter needs that type of twist. But if Tagashi did go that route, have no hesitations that he would do it well, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know. I do think there's something to this mystery, but I don't know what shape it will take. And you know what? Just because this is the perfect opportunity to talk about this theory, there is the idea out there that Gene is Gon's father and that he just has no mother, and that perhaps Gene created him with the pregnancy card from Greed Island, which, if you don't recall, the way this works is you basically carry around these rocks for months, and then they will ultimately turn into a baby. So maybe that's how Gon was created. I'd love to know all of y'all's craziest Gon theories down in the comments, so let me know. But I've also gotten a few questions here from Amari, so let's go through these. And the first one is about Gon and says, if he does become a specialist, what kind of Hatsu do you see him making? And this is in reference to the fact that Gon can no longer wield his aura, and some people have talked about, well, if he does come back, maybe he'll be a specialist. I've made a video talking about this before. But what would his Hatsu be? I have no idea. And I'm not trying to give like a cop out to this question, but I just really don't know, because if that is the turn he would make, it's going to be a drastic one, right? And I hope it doesn't happen personally. I like that Gon is just an enhancer. I think the series has enough specialists. And like, again, speaking back to like the ultra unique MC with the twists and stuff, I just feel like this isn't necessary for Gon. But if he did and it needed to be something, I would hope that it just further like built upon the elements of his character that we already knew, which would be like enhancer-esque stuff, in which case, like, why make him a specialist, right? But, maybe like something not like Ultra Instinct from DBZ. Like, I'm not saying exactly that, but kind of something in that realm, because, he's always had just like the insanely heightened senses from his time growing up in the jungle and stuff. So I would like to see things built upon in that way, as opposed to him just becoming like a completely different character now that he's a specialist. So again, I know it's like kind of a cop out on what you're asking for, but I'm not sure otherwise. Next, he asks, what are some potential strategies Terror Sandwich could use with Parallel Future? So for those, just in case people are watching this video that haven't seen the manga, this is a character from the manga. And I've got an in-depth video explaining his ability for anybody that's interested in that. But the main strategies that it offers is just the general complete advantage you have in any fight, right? Like, imagine playing chess and always knowing what your opponent's next move is going to be. That is an absolute cheat code. So the main strategy here is just going to be strategy, right? It gives him knowledge that he can manipulate and take advantage of. Like, for example, imagine in a fight that he uses it, right? And let's just say, we don't really know what Soraidnik's power is going to be in terms of like his offensive capabilities, but let's just assume he can hit somebody really hard, right? Imagine he goes for a strike on somebody's face, then he activates Parallel Future. Well, his opponent is going to guard their face, right? But now in the Parallel Future, Soraidnik can go hit them somewhere else where they're not going to have their nin defenses and like just completely obliterate them, right? And that's just one completely random example. Other than that, he can just use it to escape situations. He can use it to manipulate even in non-combat scenarios, like especially with all of the political intrigue going on in this arc. He can like glean information from people that they will never even know that he has, right? And then he can use that against them. So really, like, the possibilities here are endless with what he can do, assuming he's smart enough, and he's by all means a genius. So very, very scary, right? Now, what are some of the weaknesses of Parallel Future? I think the main one is kind of along the lines you're thinking of right here, for people that are just immensely powerful, because even if Soraidnik uses it and gets that 10-second window, if he can't alter things enough in that 10 seconds, he's screwed, right? So like with Uvo, for example, let's say he does a big bang impact that does a huge explosion in an area. Well, even if Soraidnik knows that's coming, he maybe could not get far enough away in those 10 seconds to do anything about it. So I think characters like that provide a big punch and an area of effect with whatever they do are going to be a problem for him. And then people that are just going to be, that much stronger, that much faster, that might be able to do something to him before he even realizes he needs to activate Parallel Future, because I'm sure he'll get it to under a second, but we know he's not there yet. So characters that just supremely outclass him aren't going to have to worry about it either. And then finally, judge my nin ability I made as a joke. The nin user can exercise nin curses in exchange for developing bowel problems. The more powerful the curse, the more powerful the bowel problems. It's beautiful. Honestly, hang it in the Louvre. I feel like I have this without the benefit of defeating any nin curses. And y'all, speaking of custom nin hatsus, that may be something that we're adding to the Discord really soon. I know a lot of you have asked for that, so be on the lookout for it, with maybe tournaments and stuff too. But anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys again for the support, and thank you for watching.